Smash has quickly become not only a celebration of Nintendo, but a celebration of gaming in general. While many third-party characters such as Snake, Cloud and Joker hew far from the games that Nintendo roots, others such as Mega Man, Banjo and Hero represent games that, though technically owned by a third party, still represent Nintendo and the games connected to it. There's another classic series in this vein that would fit right in with Smash, and it's one we don't see brought up very often, the Ghosts and Goblins series. Sometimes known as Ghouls and Ghosts and Makimura in Japan, this Capcom franchise started off in arcades but has had titles and ports on a wide variety of systems, most notably on the NES and SNES. The series stars the noble knight Sir Arthur, who many may recognise from various crossover titles like the vs Capcom and Project Cross Zone series. Now with a new game launching on Nintendo Switch, we had to wonder, does Arthur have a chance for Super Smash Bros? To break down how the Ghosts and Goblins series might appear in Nintendo's Ultimate Fighter, we got the help of guest writer Kazinsi to formulate everything from a moveset to spirit battles. So if you have any questions, a link to her Twitter is in the description. Without further ado, let's start with the character, Sir Arthur. Really, this gallant knight is the only viable candidate to represent the Ghosts and Goblins series, being the player character in almost all of them, and the star of the most recent title. Much like Mega Man, Arthur would most likely use his wide variety of projectile weapons from throughout the series for most of his normals. The knife, torch, axe and discus would almost certainly make appearances, possibly as well as rarer one-off weapons like the shield and tri-blade. Of course, his sword, specifically from Ghouls and Ghosts, would make up a good chunk of the melee attacks as well. He has to have some options against characters with reflectors after all, and hey, what is Smash without sword fighters? To make up for this powerful and varied offense, Arthur would have awful movement, with extremely stiff jumps, a very slow run speed, and he would be a light, fast faller, leaving him very susceptible to combos. This works to emphasise a big part of his entire series, its extreme difficulty. So Arthur would be a character who is a high risk, high reward fighter, someone who can deal great damage at the cost of taking it. Nothing emphasises this more than Arthur's central gimmick, his armour. Arthur starts the match in his steel armour, but he won't last long like this. Take enough damage and the armour will break apart, leaving Arthur to run around in nothing but his boxers. When in this form, he is susceptible to even more damage, although knockback will remain the same. The player can also break the armour themselves using Arthur's up special. This move causes Arthur to purposely break his own armour, the knockback from this sending him high into the sky with a chance to recover. Opponents will receive damage if they are near his armour when it breaks, but that is all. Luckily, Arthur doesn't go into a free fall after this, allowing him to attempt to defend himself, but if he tries to do another up special in this form, it won't work. Like Ice Climbers or Hero, all Arthur will do is a useless little hop before entering his falling animation. So how does Arthur get his armour back? Well, one way is to die, but a better way is his down special, the armour upgrade. Like many characters in Smash, Arthur has a meter near his percentage monitor, which fills up as he deals and takes damage. This meter would most likely be modelled on the magic charge meter from Ghouls and Ghosts, but would serve a different purpose. When it fills, he can use it to upgrade his armour by one stage, from boxers to steel armour, and from steel armour to holy armour. If Arthur loses his armour through damage, the meter will stay where it is, meaning prepared players could quickly recover. But if a player uses the up special, the meter will go down, getting cut in half if Arthur was on steel, and going down to 0 if he had his holy armour equipped. Although this will give him more height in his recovery, and the breakable armour will actually meteor smash people if they're too close. The holy armour will cause all of Arthur's moves to power up, either simply increasing their damage or making their hitbox bigger. He would also get a projectile shield that can block attacks, similar to Link and Hero. However, when in this form, the armour meter can only be increased manually, and that's for a good reason. With Holy Armour, this move changes to Thunder Magic, magic that becomes available to Arthur when he has the Lance in both Ghouls and Ghosts and Super Ghouls and Ghosts. While in those games it summoned a lightning bolt which cleared the entire screen, here it has a hitbox similar to Hero's Kazap, and similar if not even greater in power. This comes at a cost however. When Thunder Magic is used, Arthur is immediately reduced to his boxers. Large damage with large consequences, so make sure you don't miss. His neutral and side special are a little more standard. His neutral is his iconic lance, the weapon Arthur begins every game with. It is a weak projectile but can be angled in any direction. However, when the holy armour is out, it becomes much stronger and much faster. It's perfectly spammable for players looking to play keep away. His side special is also a projectile, the crossbow. This attack fires 2 arrows at the same time in a rising arc of around 45 degrees and below. With holy armour upgrade, these arrows become balls of energy, with a third one added on that goes straight. These have very minor homing similar to Samus's missiles, and all versions of the attack do more damage to enemies in the air, reflecting how they were effective against the dangerous red Arremer enemy. Finally, the final smash, and we went for the Goddess Bracelet, the ultimate weapon from Super Ghouls and Ghosts. In that game, it is a strong, spammable energy blast, but its appearance in Smash would be based on its appearance as one of Arthur's hyper combos in Marvel vs. Capcom 3. There, Arthur fires a rapid barrage of Goddess Bracelet shots, so fast that they resemble a solid beam of energy. The foe is trapped in the multi-hit of the barrage, and when it ends, he fires a much larger blast that sends the opponent flying. Moving on to the presentation, Arthur would speak in goofy, over-the-top, fake ye old English, like in the Versus series. Like many classic characters in Smash now, most of his sound effects would be ripped directly from his games, and many of his animations would mimic those of his old sprites. As for his alternative colours, first up is his default silver armour. His holy armour has gold highlights and his boxes are white with a strawberry pattern. Next is a deep purple armour, originally appearing in Marvel vs. Capcom 3 and modelled off of the warrior armour from Ultimate Ghosts and Goblins. His holy armour has brown and yellow highlights and his boxes have blue and white vertical stripes. The golden armour is modelled off the recurring gold armour upgrade. His holy armour has red highlights and his boxes are yellow with black stars. His green armour, the colour of oxidised bronze, is next, and is modelled off the bronze armour upgrade from Super Ghouls and Ghosts. His holy armour has orange highlights and his boxes are green with white polka dots. The next ult debuted in Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3, blue armour with his hair and beard coloured white. While it's based on nothing in particular from his home games, the designers referred to it as Old Arthur in a blog post. His holy armour has white highlights and his boxes are blue with white polka dots. Another Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3 original, this pink gold armour is loosely based on the idea of Arthur as a romantic, since he quests to save his beloved princess. His holy armour has red highlights and his boxes are pink with white hearts. New to Smash, the deep red armour would be based on the recurring red Arremer enemy, as well as Firebrand, a popular red Arremer, who stars in his own spin-off series known as Gargoyle's Quest or Demon Crest. His holy armour has deep blue highlights, and his boxes are red with a black bat pattern. Finally, bone white armour, with his beard and hair recoloured purple and his skin grey. This one is new to Smash and is based on Astaroth, a recurring major antagonist in the series. His holy armour has red highlights and his boxes are red with a white bone pattern. Lastly, Arthur's victory theme is a remix of the theme that plays over the map at the beginning of each life from Ghosts and Goblins. Now, before we get to the stage, let's cover Mii costumes, of which we have 4. 2 full costumes for the Mii sword fighter of Maximo, another series protagonist, and the angelic armour upgrade. Then we have 2 Mii hats based on 2 major series figures, a red Arremer and Astaroth. Now the stage, which would most likely be named Demon Village after the series' Japanese title and would be primarily modelled off of the Haunted Graveyard, the iconic first level that appears in most games in the series. The stage would be fairly large, though not as big as something like Hyrule Temple, and it would feature a fairly simple platform layout, with some pillars or graves to stand on and a raised section in the middle. Much like other DLC stages in Ultimate, it will feature a few cameos from characters such as Maximo, the Princess, and Astaroth in the background, as well as a landscape in the distance showing iconic sections from other stages in the series, such as a tattered ghost ship, a burning village with windmills, and an ominous castle. Of course, for a stage from such a famously perilous game, we have to have a wide variety of hazards, which would spawn and despawn periodically over the course of the match. These would include enemies like the zombies, the most basic of hazards. If they touch you, they'll deal a good chunk of damage, but they can easily be destroyed with a single hit. Rarely, a skeleton murderer from Ghouls and Ghosts will appear instead, but aside from moving slightly faster, it functions identically. Green monsters are plant-like creatures that will sprout from the ground, fire a slow-moving ball of energy at the nearest fighter, and then disappear. Touching the green monster itself damages you as well, of course. And it's not just enemies that you need to watch out for, other hazards can happen periodically, such as a rainstorm that brings with it strong wind from the right side of the stage. Fighters will be slowly pushed to the left until the effect ends. If you hear the sound of the ghost ship's bell ring, then that means a tidal wave is incoming. Anyone not under a platform will get hit and potentially swept away off screen. Then there are the skull pillars found in the background that occasionally drop skulls on players, each one doing a little bit of damage. Capping off the Demon Village's impressive list of hazards is a stage boss, similar to Metalface or the Yellow Devil. The red Arremer is always seen in the background, sitting with its legs crossed, but it will occasionally stand and take flight, swooping into the foreground. It's a simple enemy in concept, being a flying enemy with only 2 attacks, swooping down with its claws out and breathing a fireball aimed directly at a fighter. It also has comparatively little health. So what makes it challenging? The answer is simple. Much like in the Ghosts and Goblins series, the red Arremer is incredibly evasive, reacting quickly to attacks by ducking out of range, just before the attack lands. Still, it can't keep dodging forever, and it goes down after only a few hits. While the red Arremer is active, no other stage hazards will appear, as it's plenty to deal with on its own. After a defeat, a new red Arremer will appear from behind a pillar to take its place in the background. And of course, what would a stage be without music? In addition to music from the main Ghosts and Goblins series itself, Demon Village would also feature music from the spin-off series Gargoyle's Quest and Demon's Crest, and the PS2 spiritual successor, Maximo. At the time of editing, Ghosts and Goblins Resurrection is not out, and so we don't have access to its OST, but it's safe to assume that if one of these songs got a remix in Resurrection, that would be the version used. For now, let's just deal with what we have. Arthur's classic mode route is called NES Difficulty, and focuses on battles based around famously difficult games from the Nintendo Entertainment System and Famicom. Each opponent in this classic mode has 2 stocks, a reference to the fact that the Ghosts and Goblins series often require you to play through the game twice in order to beat it, with the second loop often offering additional challenges. First up is a simple match against Simon Belmont on Dracula's Castle. The song Vampire Killer will play, and when Simon respawns, he is slightly stronger than before. Next up is Pit on Skyworld. The Kid Icarus Retro Medley is the choice of music, and when he respawns, he'll be much faster with better recovery. Then we have Link in his Tunic of the Wild Old. This fight references Zelda 2, taking place on the temple stage with that game's music playing. When Link falls in battle for the first time, he will respawn alongside Dark Link, and both must be defeated in order to progress. Mega Man is up next on Wily's Castle, and in this battle the Yellow Devil won't spawn until Mega Man has lost at least 1 stock. The Mega Man 2 medley plays throughout the battle. On to stage 5, and we have Little Mac on the boxing ring. This is a stamina match where he starts off in his default outfit, but when he respawns he swaps to his white outfit, although he has less health than before. The music that plays is the minor circuit. For round 6, it is a battle against Ness and the Mii Brawler in the Flying Man costume. This is a reference to Earthbound Beginnings, and as such takes place in Magicant, with that stage's theme playing. Up to 5 flying men can spawn in total over the course of the fight, only appearing after the latter one has died. However, players only need to take out Ness twice to claim victory. Finally, we have the boss battle, and it's a straight up Dracula fight. No weird gimmicks this time, just defeat him while the final boss music from the Ghosts and Goblins series plays in the background. Now to wrap us all up, we've got the spirit battles. Obviously, if you clear classic mode, you get the Arthur Fighter Spirit, using artwork from his original appearance. We'll be going in ranked order for the rest of these spirits, starting off with a novice rank spirit in the Zombie. This support spirit offers the ability of physical attack up, and is represented by 12 Captain Falcons all in the blue costume. The stage is Demon Village, and the conditions for this have the enemies moving slow, with impact damage, but they are easily defeated. Also, the zombie stage hazard will be the only one that appears in the level. Next up is another novice support spirit, this time offering the ability of falling immunity. It is the Green Monster. It is represented by 3 piranha plants in their green costumes, but if you don't have that DLC, it will be 3 green Kirbys instead. Stage is the Demon Village, and the only hazard that will spawn are the green monsters themselves. In this battle, the enemy favours their neutral special. Next up is the Skeleton Murderer, another novice support spirit, this time represented by 8 robins in their blue costumes. Once again, the stage is the Demon Village, and the Skeleton Murderers are the only stage hazards that appear. All enemies will start with a Death Scythe, and the ability they'll provide is the improved Spot Dodge. Next, we have an advanced spirit, but still a support type, the Shielder. This will be represented by a giant hero, specifically the one from Dragon Quest IV, but if this DLC hasn't been purchased, he'll be replaced by Link in his Tunic of the Wild. The stage is Demon Village again, but this time it's the Omega form, and the enemy favours forward tilts. The enemy also starts the battle with a back shield, and the ability they provide is the Perfect Shield Reflect. The next spirit is another advanced support spirit, this time being the Unicorn from Ghosts and Goblins. It's represented by a giant Ganondorf in his red costume on the Demon Village Omega stage. This enemy has increased jump height and is, well, giant. It also has insta-drop, and that's the ability it provides as a spirit. Now we are onto our ace spirits, and it is the red Arremer, another support spirit that offers the floaty jump ability. In this battle you fight 2 enemies. First up is the red Ridley costume, and once he is defeated, a white Mecha Ridley costume will spawn instead. Both enemies have increased speed and jump height, and the white enemy in particular has increased attack power. The stage is Castle Siege in its 3rd form. Finally, for our first primary spirit, we have Astaroth, an attack type that comes with 2 slots. He is represented by a giant red Bowser, and when he's defeated, a giant green Bowser will spawn instead. The enemy has super armor, and favours its neutral special. The green Bowser references Neberoth, the more powerful palette swap that appears after Astaroth is defeated in Super Ghouls and Ghosts. Potentially, Astaroth could be a spirit that can be upgraded and become Neberoth, a legend spirit, and has the slow super armor ability, but lower stats than normal to compensate. Back to the support spirits, and this time we have the Princess from Ghosts and Goblins. She's represented by Zelda in her blue costume, and is protected by an Arthur in his pink costume. On the stage, Peach's Castle Melee. The goal here is to defeat the main fighter to win under a time limit. However, the main fighter, the Princess, avoids conflict. The support power she offers is Magic Attack Up, a reference to the Goddess Bracelet item. Our last two spirits are primary, and first up is the Ace Spirit Maximo, who's represented by a Mii sword fighter with the Maximo armor and wig, or Link with his Skyloft outfit if that first Mii costume hasn't been purchased. The stage is the Demon Village, and the enemy favours the neutral special, the Shuriken of Light or the Hero's Bow, as well as their side special, the Chakram or the Boomerang. When at high damage, its attack and speed is increased. This primary spirit is a defense type, offers 3 slots, and thrown items up. Finally, we have the Legend Spirit, Firebrand. This is a series of fights themed off of the various crest transformations from Demon's Crest, and takes place on the Reset Bomb Fortress, hazardless first form only. This is a no-holds-bar battle where you must take your best fighter in to win. Battle 1 is a Mii Brawler with the red Arremer hat, or Ridley in his red costume. This represents Firebrand's base form. Fight 2 is Ganondorf in a brown costume. This represents the Earth Gargoyle. Fight 3 is Pit in his white and blue costume and represents the Air Gargoyle. Fight 4 is Greninja in his green costume and represents the Water Gargoyle. Fight 5 is Charizard in his pink costume and it represents the Legendary Gargoyle. And then Fight 6 is Ridley in his white mecha costume and represents the Ultimate Gargoyle. Firebrand is a legendary primary spirit of the Grab type and offers 2 slots and critical health healing as its ability. And phew, that does it. This might be the longest all-content episode we've done so far, but we hope you enjoyed it. I want to thank Kazinci for plotting out the outline for this script. And again, if you have any questions for her, a link to her Twitter is down below. Ghosts and Goblins Resurrection just came out on the Switch, so let us know if you've played the game and what you think of it. I hear it's really hard, definitely not a game that I'm going to be good at, for sure. But let us know what you think of Arthur in Super Smash Bros. What do you think his chances are? Would you prefer him to be represented in another way, like a spirit or a Mii costume? Just let us know. And if you're feeling very generous today, you can like, subscribe, share this video with all of your friends. And if you want to feel extra special, you can be like all of these wonderful people on screen right now and subscribe to our Patreon. A link to that is on screen and below. With that, we hope you have a wonderful day, and always remember to return to the source.